For old time's sake, let's start with an injury update. We always enjoy that. We've got a number now who are giving you a bit of an issue.
Yeah, there are. We just had a little bit of bad luck with that. JJ had his surgery on Tuesday. From what I'm being told, the tear was bigger than they expected. Surgery went really well though, so he's now in the rehab process. We're talking 10 to 12 weeks, probably more likely 12 weeks. So that puts him to December, about the 23rd of December, which seems a hell of a long way off, but that's the way it is. We just got to deal with that. Ben Barkley's doing really well. He's back in full training with everybody. It was too early to play him in the game on Tuesday, but he's going to get a good few weeks of training now. Um, Taylor Charters has had a scan today on his hamstring. He's on examination. It doesn't seem bad, but we're a little bit concerned about that. It's on the same hamstring where he had the surgery last season. The surgery was quite low down. This one's a bit higher up. So he's had no signs of it, no aches going into the game. It's just one of them things. So we'll wait and see what the results of that are. Dylan McGeoch, who tried to get back, he told us he'd got a kick on his calf a couple of weeks ago. It's just not settled down, so we've been and had that scanned, and that's probably looking at about 4 weeks of that being out. I think I was told it's a 2C grade of a Soleil strain. So again, that's a bit of a mystery how that's happened. So I think that's where we are. Dan Butterworth got smashed in a challenge against Carlisle City. He's sore today on his quad, but we expect him to be okay. Alfie McCalmo got smashed in a challenge at Carlisle City. Again, he's done a recovery today, but he should be okay for the weekend. So a few bumps and bruises, but hopefully that's as far as it goes.
Gav mentioned Corey wasn't very well. That's more of an illness thing, isn't it?
Yeah, Corey's been back in training. He came in on Monday and was complaining of not feeling right, but wanted to train. We're having to COVID test players again now when we get anything like that, because it seems as though COVID's on its rounds again. But he was negative on COVID, so that was a real positive. He wanted to give it a go Tuesday, but said he just didn't feel right. So there's no point taking chances if somebody's not right. So he dropped out the game, which is a bit of a shame because he took part in the match prep we'd done on Monday for that game. But he's okay, and he's back available for the weekend.
You mentioned Tuesday, great for Terry. It doesn't matter where you score. If you're scoring for the club that you've just come to, that's a plus.
Oh, and of course it is. Strikers want to score goals, so that was a big thing for Terry to get that, albeit a tap in. But there's nothing lucky about it. You have to be in the right place, and if a goalkeeper wants to spill it, then you've got to be there for it. So, no, good for Terry. Good for them all to get the work out in what was, really difficult surroundings, really difficult circumstances, difficult weather. I can't fault their attitude to it. I accept that we have to be better in terms of the football, but they kept trying to do things properly. I accept that we're expected to win those games, but they're not as straightforward as everybody thinks they're going to be. You've got a group of players who are determined to try and prove a point and are probably more physical than you get used to in the standard that our players are in. The pleasing thing was, and that the only thing that matters, is that we got through the game, hopefully not too damaged by it, by some of the challenges, but we've got through and we move on to the next round with it.
I was going to say, importantly, still in the competition. It's one you enjoy. It's one the chairman always enjoyed. It's one the club enjoys.
Yeah, well, enjoy. I enjoy winning games. I enjoy being involved in competitions, and out of respect for the county FA, we do it and we have to be involved in it. I don't like some of the things that go on in these games, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't like some of those things, but we got ourselves through and we're into the next round, and we'll take whatever comes then.
And this week's been about getting ready for another tough one on Saturday.
Yeah, it is another tough game. Going to Wycombe, never an easy place to go. I think Matt's got a good group of players there together with a bit of youthful excitement that you get from younger players, but they've got some good experience in there as well. So we know it's going to be a tough game, and they've got 13 points. They're doing okay so far this season. It's a game that we know that we've got to carry on doing the things that we've done well in spells in games. We've got to be more consistent and try and get it over longer periods in games, and we also know we've got to be more clinical, and if we do that, then we'll put on a good performance.
That seems to be the key point at the moment, that clinical thing, Paul, because when you look at everything you've just said there, we pretty much did all of it against Derby, but 2 clinical moments and we've lost the game.
Yeah, 2 clinical moments and 2 mistakes by us, that we get punished for it, and unfortunately at the moment we've probably not found the right bit of quality to punish teams when they make mistakes. Mistakes are fewer in this league than there were in League Two. So when you do get them, you have to make them count, and as I say, unfortunately we haven't done that. It doesn't take away that we've done a lot of good things. We've done some real good things so far. I thought first half against Derby, I thought it was a real good advertisement for League One football. I thought we did really well. Second half not as well. So there's things that we need to improve on, but it's not all bad. We're in an okay position, and we've just got to try and improve.
We're talking about that unbeaten run that led into the Derby game. It could still be the unbeaten run. So we've said this before. There is a lot of boxes are being ticked.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, but just not enough. I mean, we've got to be really honest about it. You know, we lost the game because we made mistakes, and we have to try and get those mistakes out of our game. Then, whether it be a misunderstanding, whether it be a poor technique about the way we go about things, whatever it is, we have to take those mistakes out. And the longer we are in the league, the more we'll adapt to it, the more we'll get used to this level, and we'll also improve ourselves. And the truth of it is, if we don't improve, we have to change it. It's as simple as that, and that's the long-term plan, to make this football club, to make this football group better than where we are at the moment.
Do you get that temptation as well, Paul? And I think the answer to this is no, that if you've had mistakes, you think, well, okay, we're going to change it now. We're going to look at the personnel we've got and we're going to change things again.
No. I mean, a bit of twofold, really, because we've got to give the guys a chance, but also we can't change it. This is the group we've got. We've got this through to January. I don't really know if there's anybody out there who's a free agent who's definitely going to come in and who's going to be fit enough to hit the ground running to make an immediate impact. We're not in a position where we can give contracts out and wait 4 or 5 weeks for somebody to get fit to be able to affect the first team. We need players who can hit the ground running now. And when you get to this stage of the season and you've got non-contract players, there's very few of them who are at the level ready to go in. So, you know, we have to give these lads a chance. We've got to give them the time. I'll be really honest, I want it to be better. We all want it to be better, but this is where we are at the moment, and we're in the first stage of changing this League One group and improving this League One group, and over time then hopefully we'll get that opportunity to make it even stronger.
And the fact is, to add to that question, and by that I mean myself and Amy, for example, we see a confident group in this corridor. We see a frustrated group because the results haven't reflected it. So they believe in themselves.
Yeah, they do believe in themselves, and I do believe in them as well. You know, it's a case of it's not all wrong. We're okay. We're in a decent position for where we've come from, and it's been a whirlwind summer with the late victory at Wembley and the changes that needed to be made and all those sorts of things. But we're enjoying it. We're enjoying the challenge. It's a great position to be in. I'd certainly would much rather be in this position, trying to compete at League One, than still be stuck in League Two. So we've just got to keep trying to improve, and the players have a determination to improve. They've got a desire to come in each day and to listen and to learn and try and improve. And as long as we've got that, we've got a fighting chance.
Do you and they as a group soul search over the mistakes that have, perhaps for the 2 goals on Saturday, for example? Do you go over that, or is it just something that this happened, let's move on?
I wouldn't describe it as going over and over it, but we certainly talk about it. We certainly try to learn from those mistakes, and I think that's what you're always doing. When we win games, we try to learn from mistakes. Sometimes it's easier to get to explain mistakes on the back of a win, but the truth is you've got to try and learn and reflect on all these things. But I wouldn't say we go smashing them because of mistakes. We try to just talk them through it and get them to understand that there needs to be better communication, there needs to be more proactive bodies out there, and if we can get to that point, we'll be okay.
It's consistency in everything, isn't it? Every aspect.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's been consistent every day. That's not just on a match day. We have to be consistent in the way, you know, the way we prepare for games, the way we analyse the opposition, the way we reflect on our own performances. There has to be consistency about the work ethic, about the technical and tactical stuff we do. There's got to be a consistent message, and not a case of it didn't work on this one, so let's throw it all out the window and change, or it did work on this one, so we just stick with that same thing. Sometimes you just have to adapt, and we have a framework that we work from, and every now and again we might just make a little tweak, but it's not a case of coming out with a totally different framework for the next week. We try to just tweak what we're doing as we go along.
Wycombe were 5 games unbeaten leading into last Saturday's game. I think it was against Charlton, where finally they lost that run. So as you said earlier, it's going to be a side that is going into this feeling confident.
Oh, they'll be confident. Yeah, they always are, especially at their own place. It's not an easy place to go, and they've shown with some of the results they've got that they can certainly compete. They're an established League One side. You know, they're a side who just recently were up in the Championship. So that's what we're having to compete against. It's a good game for us. So it's one I'm looking at, thinking there's areas where if we play our game and we play to the levels that we're capable of, we can cause them problems. And I think that's the big challenge for the players, is that this season we have to play close to our max or at our max every game if we're expecting to get something. I thought against Derby for long periods in the first half we were at our max, we didn't make it count. Second half we dropped off from our max level, and you end up coming away with nothing from the game. So going into Wycombe, we've got to try and get to our level, try and maintain it for a longer period of the game, and hopefully be clinical when we get those chances.
Train first, then the bus. Have you found that's working? I know you were going to look at it and see how much of a difference it made.
Yeah, I do think it has done. Yeah, I mean, it's not. It hasn't caused a major issue. I think we've done Oxford, where I thought the performance was good, and we have a poor goal to give away that we lose. We started okay at Stevenage, and the level of performance was okay there. So I think if we were to look at the travel and blame it, that would be an excuse, and I don't really like excuses. You know, there's reasons why we're not winning these games, and it's not because we go on a coach or on a bus. So we just have to deal with it, and hopefully the journey down will be okay. We'll get through it fine, and we'll be ready to go on Saturday.
Just going to finish on the fans, because we're going to have 400 or 500 there on Saturday. We're seeing the queues today for Bolton tickets, another big away game. We saw how many are coming to Brunton Park. This is brilliant.
Yeah, the fans have jumped on board. You know, there's a lot of positivity around, and you look at the crowd last weekend at home against Derby. You look at the response that's coming out for the Piatek families' prospective takeover. There's loads and loads of positivity, and we have to just make sure that we keep picking up results, keep getting the performances right, and then if everything goes on with the takeover, then we're in a strong position for things to really go and flourish and really take off as a club.
Paul, thank you.